actually know what I was about to say at all. That's really
You had a question that you said you wanted to ask.
but I didn't know
She doesn't remember it?
Hey guys, welcome to the Catch Podcast.
This is May right here.
Hey guys, welcome to the Catch Podcast. Thank you so much for being here with us. Today we are here with the great cast and crew and people and such. And we have a special question from the special Dessa.
Oh, you're the special to me.
I'm special too.
Oh.
Yeah, that was-
Cringe.
What was that?
Okay.
Don't be jealous.
So.
Sure. 3 special.
Wow. Anyway, okay, so my question is, let's think about the viewers as our younger siblings in the Lord, right?
Okay.
Okay, so what's some advice that you would give your younger sibling spiritually? Like, if they're struggling with something right now, what advice would you give them?
Okay, wait. Are we taking this from like the stance of like they are already Christians? Or like
Either one, whatever way the Lord leads you. Do they need, well, everyone obviously needs Jesus, but like, is Jesus not in their life right now? Is he in their life, but just, not enough?
Right.
Like, they know Jesus, they know church.
Right.
But what is that really? You know what I mean?
Yeah. I get that. Would anyone else like to start? Go ahead. Looks like you're ready.
No, I'm not ready.
Oh, okay.
Can you guys repeat the question again?
Okay, so what's some
Repeat
advice you would give your little sibling in Christ? That little person that your heart is just going pitter-patter for. But not in that way. But like, we love you so much compared to Christ way.
I would first say find someone to model after. Because you're a kid, right? You don't know.
Sorry. Go ahead.
You don't know what to do in life. You don't know how you're supposed to live. So it's nice to watch somebody that's a little older than you, that has a little bit more experience, that they have gone through a lot more than you, and you just model how they live their life and how God has blessed them through living that type of life.
Right. It's a good one. I had a question. I had an answer. What was I gonna say? Anyone else have one for me? So I can think about one.
You've been where they're at.
Huh?
That's true.
What? I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, was I not clear? You've been where they're at.
Yeah.
But wait, that's what you would ask?
She kind of hinting toward my point.
Oh, good. Just explain it.
Elaborate.
That was the main things what I was gonna say. Like, you've been where they're at in their life. Like, you've been through that teenage angst and still trying to figure out, who you are in Christ Jesus. So that's all I have to say.
I'm sorry. So, Sam, are you coming at this? What are you trying to say?
I'm saying, okay.
No, her question was, what would you say
Are
to
you
them?
just commenting and not answering a question?
What? Who said you've been ready?
You said give you something.
You're talking to the audience.
So if I was little, I was about to say Johnny, I'm God. But if I was little Sarah, what advice are you giving me? And you said you've been with
No, I was telling you said give me one. That's why I was.
No, I was saying somebody go before me.
Okay, what I would tell little Sarah is, I've been in the place and position where you're at. And what I mean by that is, I thought it was pretty clear just from saying that statement.
Oh, sorry.
Oh my.
Sorry.
Oh my.
All love here, yo. I would say, I've honestly, I feel like it gets better, in life. You're just growing up. And of course, growing up in church, you get, into this church girl or church boy mentality where it's just I'm just here. I'm just here. I'm just present. I don't know what I'm doing here. I'm here because my parents are here. But I feel like when you're in church, and especially if you're 8, 9,
10.
10. I'm sorry, y'all. Preteen or teen in general, I feel like you really start to build, or you really start to come to the realization of what do I think about all of this? What are my thoughts in this? And I think I think I learned this in my philosophy class, where it's like you really have to come to I think it's called epistemology, where humans have to come to the terms of why they believe what they believe, what are their judgments, what are their reasons. And so many times I feel like in a lot of our, I feel like in a lot of preteens' minds or teens' minds, they're coming into that, it's their coming of ages. This is just, they're really just trying to figure out like, what is God in my life?
Yeah. I would say, I remembered what my answer was. I would say really just trust God even in your confusion. I was talking.
Wow.
I was talking to not a couple, we talked about this on several different occasions, but I was talking to some people and we were just talking about how, like, I don't know, it's something about young Christians when they don't understand God or when they don't understand their situation, their first thought is to run away, to leave God, to drop it all. And it's like, just sit down. Like, take a minute. Why is your first thought to run? Like, you have to be careful when your first thought is to run. Like, yes, there's a time of mourning, there's a time of praising. Like, we know this, but when it's a time to run, that's when you really gotta start asking God. You be like, God, is this a time to run, or is this my flesh telling me to run away? Yeah. So I would say, like, trust God even when you don't know what you're trusting Him in. Yes. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I would also even say, like, the worst thing a young person can have is options or like choices in general. Yeah. Even though God He gave it to us, and I'm just like, wow. But it's just like, oh my goodness. Like, of course, God wants us to come to like the realization of like Him, ourselves, and just not robotically like serving Him and worshiping Him and praising Him. But it's just kind of like sometimes like, God, why did you give us choices? Like, why did you give us options? And so many times it's like I don't know how to explain it. Like, sometimes okay, I'm gonna use this example. So like, I think about the parable when Jesus was talking about with the pearl merchant who had all these different types of pearls, and he invested years and years trying to collect all different kinds of pearls, and he uses this parable to compare the kingdom of heaven. And he was talking about with the pearl merchant, he had all these pearls, right? But then when he came across that one pearl, he sold every single pearl that he had to go after that one pearl. And I feel like even through your younger years, you find out, and even now that I'm older, I find out like the things that I was investing in when I was younger were not worth it. Like, what I attached myself to emotionally, I was like, this is not worth it. Like, how in the world am I attaching myself to this that are just draining me and draining me? And it just seems like the only thing that is not draining me but pouring more into me is God. Like, it is church. It is all of these things combined. So I feel like as a young person, it takes time and it takes realization of like, whoa, God really did all this. He did point A, point B, point C, point D. And now it's just now coming into fruition now that I'm like out of high school, and I'm like, whoa, like, God, you really prepared me for such a time as this, for all the things that you have prepared me for when I was 10, when I was 8, when I was 5, when I was 12, 13, 14, 15, like 9, everything. 10. Yes, 9. But why? Like, 9 is just such a special number. I don't know.
I think that's the real problem that we have. We don't have the ability to wait. Right? Especially in wait for something that we don't know what we're waiting for. Right? And I learned that in my own life, where things happen, I'm wondering like, why, God? Why did this happen? The good and the bad. Like, why did this happen? Why did you maybe do this? Or why did this happen to me? And now I look back, like you said, I'm like, you had a plan all along, I just didn't know it. And that's people's problem. They just want to understand God's plan for their life. But if they really knew, it would blow their mind.
Sorry.
Oh no, you're good. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, like, another point. It's kind of like what I was gonna say when he was asking about like the why and stuff. I was thinking like you also gotta learn that sometimes it is time to like move on. And I'm not saying like in everything, but I mean like sometimes we think so hard about our past mistakes. And man, why did I say that? Man, why did I do this? I got so many repercussions because of that. But then it's just like, we get it. It happened. let's move on. Like you focus so much on this happened and it made this happen and there was a ripple effect, but it's like you're gonna waste the rest of your life being like, oh, the thing I did in 7th grade. Like, you're 21, grow up. Like, life has, and that's the thing, you'll miss the rest of life. Like, you've got to keep going. Life is going on.
Yeah.
You still stuck as a 15-year-old.
Yeah, I always forget that sound where it's like something, get a new one. I don't
know what you're talking
But it
about.
always pops in my head. I'm sorry. But anyway, I don't know. If I wasn't such a grandmother inside, I would know, but I don't. Anyway, I was gonna say that all relates back to choice because so it's been like scientifically proven that the more choices you have, the harder it is to make a decision. Which I feel like is life when you're like all those numbers that Taylor has said all of tonight. When you're in those young years, those formative years, those preteen, teenage years, you have to, tween is a term. Okay, anyway, you have to make all these decisions, but it's like there's so many options, and there's so many things, and you just like, I don't know what to do.
Right.
And like you have so many interests, whether that's spiritually, academically, your career, whatever it is, like there's so many things. But it's like when Taylor said like she wished we didn't have options, I feel like to a lot of people that just sounds weird. Like, why would you say that? So controlling. But it's like it's really not. Like if we just had the vanilla and the chocolate, you would be like, yes, I love chocolate.
What?
So I would choose chocolate. But you have vanilla, chocolate, pistachio, Superman, all these things.
Right.
Like well, I like that and that and that and that. So I don't know. So basically, it just helps to have guidance, like Isaiah was saying. So when you have all these choices, it really helps to have guidance, which doesn't truly take away your choices, but it kind of just gets them out of your mind and puts those like blinders on, like for the horses, you know, when they have them little blinder things to keep them focused.
Yeah.
It helps you focus on the options that are important. So it's not like you're bound and you're this prisoner that doesn't have choices. You just are not focused on the choices that don't matter. So like it's just more important and it gives you more clearness of vision, guys.
Yeah, they apply,
when you have guidance.
Yeah, they apply wisdom to you.
Exactly.
Which you lack at that time.
Exactly.
Because you haven't grown yet to that certain extent.
Yeah.
You choose wrong enough, you gonna wish you didn't have options. You choose too many wrong options. You be like, oh.
Are we still on that? Are we still on the question? What would you tell your younger sibling? Okay. I was gonna say don't have too many examples.
That's
Just
Okay.
like
that's very true.
I don't know who you are, where you are, whoever's watching this. For me, Jesus Christ is the ultimate example. Those who are like him can be an example as well. Anything else should not be.
Right.
And it keeps your example very directed in the same direction, and it keeps, like you said, it keeps those choices down, those options down of other things that could weigh on you. Like for instance, you may think a very successful businessman is a good example, and maybe in a business sense, sure, but as far as your life in totality, just keep it simple, keep it focused on the ultimate goal. And I don't know if whoever's watching this, I don't know if you're saved, if you believe in God or whatnot, but I'm just saying, like, for me, Jesus is the ultimate example.
Right.
Yeah.
So for you, if you can find, and I encourage you to find that in him. When you find that, people that line up with that, they can be an example. People that don't, I mean, you can learn from them, but don't seek their approval or their acknowledgement as the end all be all.
So, how do you tell the difference between examples? Like, which are good examples, which are bad examples?
How do they line up?
How do they line up, pretty much? And is it based off of what you want? Like, are you like if you're only business minded, you're gonna look for a business example, like you said. So, is it always just based off of that, or are there other factors?
That's the thing. I would say this, having had good examples and then having had bad examples, I have learned that sometimes you have to make the conscious decision of the type of example you per se want. Because like if we're talking about the business aspect, right? It's like as a Christian, it's harder because it's like, yes, I want to have a good career. Yes, I want to love God. Yes, I want to do this, but you have to make up in your mind what is more important. Of course, it's God. But it's like you're going to find someone, even maybe in the church, that is more business minded than they are spiritual minded, and you have to make the conscious decision to not be like to not choose them over someone who maybe doesn't have the business, maybe isn't as financially, you know, stable as the other person, but they're really running for God. You have to make those decisions in your life to be like, I know this is what I want on the natural side, but yeah, is that what I need? Is natural more important to me than my spiritual side?
Right. Yeah, and I feel like, I'm sorry. I feel like that's inspiration versus examples. Like, I feel like you can take inspiration from successful people, but how you choose your examples are like by their end goal. Like, did they make it? Even if you wanted a business example, but at the end of the day, they were successful in business, but they cheated so many people. Like, is that the way you want to go about it? So, like, looking at people's results, I feel like helps you choose your example. And if someone is so young or inexperienced that they don't have an end goal, they're probably not the best example. Because you don't know, the thing that they're doing looks great, but you don't know what what the end results are. So like you might take inspiration from them, but they shouldn't be your example.
Yeah, I was gonna say, to go back to Isaiah's original question, how can you discern between them? Or how will you be able to discern between them? I would just say ask God. I would just say pray to God. Like, God, what are the type of examples that I'm supposed to have in my life? Because I know I've gone through my share of spiritual examples in life, and I just realized that when it comes to that, I realized that at that time, yes, they were a good spiritual example, but they weren't consistent. So with that came like, oh wow, they fail, so does that mean I'm gonna fail in my faith and my spirituality? And so many times I was like, man, I really shouldn't have had that person as an example. I really should have just asked God and was like, God, what is the example that you really need me to have? Because the people that I think is an example are not going to be consistent 10 years or 15 years down the road later. We don't know. We have no idea what they're going to do, what they're capable of, who they actually are, who they're trying to hide inside of them. So it was just like, for me, I was just like, God, lead me and guide me to my examples. And then once I have it, let me just stick to it. I'm not going to sway to the left. I'm not going to sway to the right. If I see what God told me to see, and if I'm seeing the signs, all right, that's my example.
Yeah, and even those people, though, are a good indication for you of, like, your traps.
Yeah.
Like, because if you thought they were a good example, then you probably like them in a certain way. So when they fail, you're like, oh, so that's something the devil's going to bring against me. And that's a trap. Or, oh, that's what I thought I wanted, but I see the results of that. So now I know to focus more on God than this. I just feel like those people are really good markers for what you're about to go through. Then so like you just know, oh, okay, so that's how I passed that test. By not doing that. By doing the reverse of it.
Yeah. So can we then ask the question, is everyone an example, and it's more so about who you choose to follow and who you choose to learn from?
That's good.
Say that question again.
So could we then say that everyone is an example, but it just depends on which example you choose to follow and which ones you choose to learn from?
Yeah, I guess.
I would say
You have a point.
Are we examples, guys?
To somebody.
Well, everybody. Yeah, he has a point. Everybody's an example. Whether they're a good or bad example.
That's true.
And really, that just makes you think like, man, let me get myself together. Somebody gonna be looking at me as an example.
Yeah, because somebody is always watching. That's what I always learn. Especially with like younger people that are like younger than you. You realize that people are always watching. They're always keeping your eye on you. Every little single thing.
Even on the cameras.
Yep, even on the cameras, y'all.
See, guys, Taylor knows this especially because I don't know what that meant, but Taylor knows this especially because, you know, she's a singer, you know, she likes to use her talent. Everyone sees her all the time.
Okay, well.
All the time.
We didn't need to bring that to fruition.
Do you guys think that people ever try to actually be an example, like purposely?
Yes.
Or
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's where Soul Ties is created. When they try to really be in. Okay.
Wow, yeah, that was kind of.
No, wait.
I felt like
she got a little personal. She got a little personal.
Shifted.
Wait, I'm sorry. That shit is
Yeah, we'll talk about that another day.
Yeah, that's
Soul
a
Ties.
little
Yeah.
different.
I'm just.
I saw where you were going, but
I
that,
didn't.
you're-
I definitely don't want to go
I don't know where she
I
was
saw where
going.
you
I
were
don't know if our
going,
younger
but
I was
you're
looking.
open.
I was
I saw
I'm
where you're
saying,
going. You're
what
open
younger
statement
sibling are you
was
talking to that know what a soul tie is?
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
your
true.
opening
They
statement
probably
was
wouldn't know
tough.
what that is.
Okay, don't make them sound like they stupid.
I'm not saying that they are, but I'm just saying they probably.
I know
don't
you know what a soul tie is. You just don't want to talk about that today. Anyways, y'all. What was your question?
The extraterrestrial.
No, you said something about.
Yeah, and then
But what you said soul tie?
He just asked.
Do
they
people
could
purposely try to be examples?
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
guys, younger siblings, don't give up.
What?
The shit.
I don't understand.
Because,
Okay.
No, because seriously.
Amen.
Because for instance, if you're seeing this and you're like, everybody said so much, I can't even remember what everybody said. Like
That's what we were
part of you know growing up and learning. It's just don't give up on it. Like, because for me that was always a big thing. That was a big obstacle. Is that so much was being said, I couldn't remember it all, and I was overthinking because it was like, dang, am I forgetting a part or am I forgetting something? But just keep going because you'll get it eventually.
And this is also for even the people that aren't necessarily Christians. You don't have to be afraid to go to Jesus about this, right? It's a way, it's an entryway for God to show Himself to you. So if you give Him the chance,
agree.
yeah, if you give Him the chance to show Himself,
That's true.
through the
Yeah.
situation, who should I follow? Who should I look at? Who should I model?
Keep going.
So many people are laughing
Keep going. Keep talking.
behind the camera
Hey.
and in front of the camera
Keep talking.
and
No,
behind
that's
the
pretty much
camera.
it. I'm just saying, like, you don't have to be afraid. You don't have to be afraid to go to God.
Right. I agree.
That could have been.
Thank you guys so much for watching.
Hey guys, thanks for watching.
Hey, thanks for watching.
And you're watching.
Disney Channel.
Get out of here.
The catch. Wait, make a fish. Make a fish.
We're not making that in post. No, we're not. We're not outlining that.
Do mine, because I feel like my fish is better.
And we'll catch you later.
What is that?
What is, yeah.
It's a fish.
You're a fish. I'm sure.